Hello students, so now we are back with the fourth portion, fourth video, the Indigo. Now we are at page number 52 and we have read that now Gandhi had 4 very long meetings with the Lieutenant Governor, and as a result Lieutenant Governor was convinced and a commission was made, and Gandhi was the sole representative from the side of the farmers. So then inquiries were made now, and ultimately everybody agreed that Britishers had befooled the farmers, and now Britishers should give back the money which they had deceitfully taken from the farmers. The official inquiry assembled. Now we are starting from this para, page number 52. The official inquiry assembled a crushing mountain of evidence against the British planters. Now earlier Gandhiji was doing inquiry and he was investigating all alone, unofficially. But now when the commission was made, now officially the evidences were collected, inquiries were made, and ultimately there were a mountain of evidences against the Britishers. And when they saw this, they agreed. And now when the Britishers, they saw that yes, there are many evidences against them, ultimately they had to agree, they had to accept that yes, they had deceitfully taken the money. So they agreed to give it back. They agreed in principle to make refunds to the peasants. But how much must we pay? They asked Gandhi. Now once it was clear that Britishers are to give back, are to refund the money, then they asked, then how much you think we are to give it back? But how much must we pay? They asked Gandhi. Now when once it was clear that the money they will have to refund, then they asked Gandhi how much we are supposed to refund. They thought he would demand repayment in full of the money which they had illegally and deceitfully extorted from the sharecroppers. Naturally, this was natural thing that when it comes to refund the money, they were supposed to pay back in full. But even then they asked Gandhi, though they were expecting that Gandhi would say, yes, whatever you have taken, give it back. But Gandhi asked only for 50%. He asked only 50%. There he seemed adamant, and here he was adamant. Gandhi was adamant. He says, we will not take less than 50%. At least 50% money you are supposed to refund. Writes Reverend J.Z. Hodge, a British missionary in Champaran, who observed the entire episode at close range. So he wrote that Gandhiji did not ask for 100%, he asked for 50%. Thinking probably that he would not give way, the representative of the planters offered to refund to the extent of 25%. But what happened? When Gandhi said 50% you are to pay, then these planters, these Britishers, they said no, we will give only 25%. Though they were expecting that Gandhi will not agree. Okay, but even then they said 25%, and to his amazement, Mr. Gandhi took him at his word, thus breaking the deadlock. And Gandhi agreed for 25% even. Though earlier he said, we will take 50%, and there he was adamant, but then he took 25% only. This settlement was adopted unanimously by the commission. Unanimously means when everybody agrees. Now the commission and everybody in the commission, they agreed to 25% because Gandhi was ready, then nobody had any objection. They were happy that only 25% money they are to refund back. Gandhi explained that the amount of the refund was less important. Now this is important question, that why Gandhi agreed for 25% refund only. Okay, when someone afterwards asked that why did you agree for 25% only? So what he explained? Gandhi explained that the amount of the refund was less important than the fact that the landlords had been obliged to surrender part of the money and with it part of their prestige. So what did Gandhi say? Gandhi said actually money was not that important. Important thing this time is that these Britishers along with 25% money, they are to surrender their ego, they are to surrender their prestige. Because it was very big thing for the Britishers to accept their defeat in the hands of Indians, and that also poor farmers, illiterate farmers. So he said this is big thing that they are to just surrender their ego in front of these poor peasants, and that's why Gandhiji said money was not that important, because we have now given this message to Britishers that now their power can be questioned. Therefore, as far as the peasants were concerned, the planters had behaved as lords above the law. Actually, every time these planters, these Britishers, they always behaved as lords, that they were above all the laws. But now this time, for the first time, they had to surrender. Now the peasants saw that he had rights and defenders. He learned courage. So now peasants got their rights. Now they got to know how to defend themselves. This way they became very courageous. Events justified Gandhi's position. Within a few years, the British planters, peasants saw that he had rights and defenders. He learned courage. So after this episode, peasants now got to know about their rights. They got to learn how to defend themselves, and in a way they became courageous. And this is what Gandhi wanted actually. Events justified Gandhi's position. Within a few years, the British planters abandoned their estates, which reverted to the peasants. Indigo sharecropping disappeared. And after this episode, within few months, these Britishers, because they had surrendered their ego, they could not live over there. They left that area and the land was given back, or the land came back to the farmers, to the original owners. So this way, this sharecropping disappeared forever. Now this is what Gandhi had gone for, and now this problem was over. But after that, Gandhi did not immediately return back. He stayed for some more time. Okay, now this is important part. Here Champaran part is over, but Gandhi remained over there. Okay, Gandhi never contented himself with large political and economic solutions. So Gandhi was never satisfied. He never thought that his job is just to, to behave like a political leader. No, he wanted to actually help Indians in other ways also. This was the political solution of the problem, but even then he remained there, over there in Champaran with those people. He saw the cultural and social backwardness in the Champaran villages and wanted to do something about it immediately, because he had seen that culturally, socially, these people, these farmers were backward, they were illiterate. So he wanted to do something now for these people from that point of view. He appealed for teachers. Mahadev Desai and Narhari Parikh, two young men who had just joined Gandhi as disciples, and their wives volunteered for the work, because he had seen that people here are illiterate. So he wanted that they should get some education. So he asked for the volunteers, and these two persons along with their wives, they came over there to become the teachers and to teach those people. Several more came from Bombay, Pune and other distant parts of the land. So many other people came from other parts of the land because Gandhi requested them to come over there. Devdas, Gandhi's youngest son, arrived from the ashram, and so did Mrs. Gandhi. Primary schools were opened in 6 villages. Kasturbai taught the ashram rules on personal cleanliness and community sanitation. Even wife of Gandhi also started teaching the women about their personal cleanliness and all these things. So this way he started educating in 6 villages, educating people. So this is one thing he did. Another thing, you can get this question for 2 marks. Okay, that what did he do to educate. So all these names you learn, all these places you learn from where he had asked for people to come. Now, second thing he did, he provided some basic medical facilities to those people. Health conditions were miserable. Gandhi got a doctor to volunteer his services for 6 months. Three medicines were available: castor oil, quinine, and sulfur ointment. Anybody who showed a coated tongue was given a dose of castor oil. Coated tongue is a sign that the person can have fever, the person is sick. Okay, you might have seen that sometimes doctors, they say open your mouth and they check the tongue. So for this is basic thing, he provided castor oil. Anybody with malaria fever received quinine plus castor oil. Anybody with skin eruptions received ointment plus castor oil. So this way, these were the basic problems, okay, maybe in that area, and Gandhiji provided doctor with these three basic medicines. So this is what he did for health conditions. Gandhi noticed the filthy state of women's clothes. This is what Gandhi had noticed, that here the women, they wear very dirty clothes. He asked Kasturbai to talk to them about it. One woman took Kasturbai into her hut and said, "Look, there is no box or cupboard here for clothes. The sari I am wearing is the only one I have." So this shows the poverty over there. Kasturbai wanted to talk to them. Maybe she taught them, or when she started teaching them cleanliness, then one lady took her into her hut and said, "Just see for yourself. There is no trunk, no box, no almirah, nothing. So we keep everything in the open. And moreover, I have only one sari. This is what I always wear. That's why this is tattered and dirty." So this shows the poverty of that area. During his long stay in Champaran, Gandhi kept a long distance watch on the ashram. Though Gandhi was here, even then, he was always taking care of the ashram also, even from this distant place. He sent regular instructions by mail and asked for financial accounts. So he was that careful. He was asking for financial accounts also. Everything he was taking care of. Once he wrote to the residents that it was time to fill in the old latrine trenches and dig new ones. Otherwise, the old ones would begin to smell bad. So this para shows that Gandhi was not taking care of the big things like finances or accounts. He was taking care of even the smallest thing, that is to dig new latrines or fill the old ones. The Champaran episode was a turning point in Gandhi's life. What I did, he explained, was a very ordinary thing. He declared that British could not order me about in my own country. So this is what Gandhi said, that this Champaran episode was a turning point in his life. Because before this, he had already started serving his countrymen, but maybe he was not politically that active. He had not openly this way told these Britishers that you should now leave our country. So this happened only during this Champaran episode only. And that's why he says this was a turning point, because here openly he declared that these Britishers now no more should live in our country. But Champaran did not begin as an act of defiance. Naturally, here what he had done, he had defied. He did not obey the rule to leave Champaran. So from here only it started. Okay, the tussle between Gandhiji and the Britishers, it started from this point only, where Britishers wanted Gandhiji to leave Champaran and Gandhiji disobeyed. But he said it's not that Champaran only should be remembered as act of defiance, where he did not obey the law. It grew out of an attempt to elevate the distress of large number of poor peasants. He said actually this Champaran episode happened not because he wanted to disobey law. No, this Champaran episode happened because he wanted to take his own countrymen out of poverty, or he wanted to give them a good status in life, good status in society. So elevate the distress. Okay, he just wanted to bring forth the problems being faced by these poor Indians, poor Indian farmers. This was a typical Gandhi pattern. His political work intervened with the practical day-to-day problems. So this was Gandhi's style, that he never gave only political solutions. He would be working for those people for their daily life also. Okay, this is what he did. First of all, he gave political solution to the problem, and secondly, he remained there. He educated the people over there. He gave them medical facilities, and he taught them cleanliness, hygiene, etc. All these things. His was not a loyalty to abstractions. This is important line, you can underline. His was not a loyalty to abstractions. It was a loyalty to living human beings. Actually, he never, abstractions means the things you might have heard about abstract painting. Means few lines and the artist may say this is abstract painting. What does it mean? Means maybe the things are not very clear. Okay, but even then, if you look at it minutely, you will get know something. You may frame something, some picture of that painting. This is abstract, which is not maybe physically very much clear. Okay, so he said Gandhi's was not a loyalty to abstractions. Means Gandhi never wanted to work which is not clear to people. Here, what does it mean? He gave political solution to Champaran. So who got benefited? Only those peasants who had given the money to the Britishers and now they got back the money. So it means this solution was beneficial to those people only. But Gandhi remained over there because he wanted that others also should get some benefit if he's there. So this is what he always wanted to do. Not only political solutions to some problems, he would be giving them a chance to improve their life. So this is what he did. Loyalty to humans, to living beings. This is what he always wanted, to do something for human beings, not only for the political solutions. In everything Gandhi did, moreover, he tried to mold a new free Indian who could stand on his own feet and thus make India free. So this is what Gandhi tried to do. He wanted that everyone should be that courageous that he could stand for his own rights and he could defend himself. Early in the Champaran action. Now this para we can say, actually this cannot be the end of this chapter. This para happened during the Champaran episode was going on. Okay, not after solution. Though it is given now only in the end of the chapter. But this something had happened when Gandhiji was collecting evidences against Britishers. Early in the Champaran action, Charles Freer Andrews. These names you should remember, underline. Charles Freer Andrews, the English pacifist who had become a devoted follower of Mahatma, came to bid Gandhi farewell before going on a tour of duty to the Fiji Islands. So this Englishman, this Britisher, he was also, very much impressed with the way of working of Gandhiji, and he had become follower of Gandhiji. Now he was there at the time of Champaran episode was going on, Indigo episode, but then when he was about to leave that village, he thought that he should meet Gandhi first of all and bid. So he came over here to meet Gandhi. Gandhi's lawyer friends thought it would be a good idea for Andrews to stay in Champaran and help them. Now Gandhi's friends, other lawyer friends, they thought it would be very good if this Englishman, if this Britisher, stay over here for some more days, because Gandhi is collecting evidences against Britishers and maybe this Britisher would help them to get maybe evidences very easily against other Britishers. So these people wanted him to stay over there. Andrews was willing if Gandhi agreed. And when they talked to Andrews, Andrews said, I don't have any problem. I can stay here for some more days if Gandhi wants me to stay. I will be ready. But Gandhi was vehemently opposed. But Gandhi strongly opposed. He said, no, I don't want this Britisher to remain here just for help. Okay, to collect evidences against Britishers. He said, you think that in this unequal fight, it would be helpful if we have an Englishman on our side? Gandhiji got to know it, that why these other lawyers wanted this Britisher to stay here. He said that you want this man to stay here because you think that if he's on our side, maybe our side will be stronger. This shows the weakness of our heart. But Gandhiji said, but it would show that we are really weak without Britishers. And that's why we want a Britisher on our side. The cause is just and you must rely upon yourself to win the battle. Gandhiji told his friends, he says, no, we don't want any Britisher to help us, okay, because we are fighting for justice. our cause is very good cause. Okay, we are fighting for the right thing, and naturally we will win also. You should not seek a prop in Mr. Andrews because he happens to be an Englishman. So he said, I think we should not think that this Andrews can become a prop towards our side because he is a Britisher. We should not think so. If we are right, then we should have faith on ourselves. He had read our minds correctly, Rajendra Prasad comments, and we had no reply. Gandhi, in this way, taught us a lesson in self reliance. Okay, and Rajendra Prasad afterwards said, yes, actually, Gandhi got to know why we wanted this Britisher to remain there. Okay, and this way, when he said, no, we don't want any Britisher, actually, this way, Gandhi taught all of us this lesson of self reliance, means self dependence, that we should be dependent on ourselves, not on other people. Self reliance, Indian independence, and help to sharecroppers were all bound together. So, all these things were together, okay, taken as a great tool to remove Britishers out of